If you're anything like me, you're probably trash at PvP despite having played the game for almost 1,000 hours. But if you're anything like me, then that won't stop you from getting rich. In this video, we'll be going over a dirt cheap cleric build that's one of my favorites for noob players who like to take reposts directly to the face and still survive. Someone who's not afraid to take a felling axe to the face 4 times in a row. And someone who's willing to get trapped by mobs, miss, get hit twice before you even swing, and still win. Then this just might be the build for you. If you're not interested in a build breakdown, then you can pause the video now, and I'll have these perks and skills as well as the gear that I use in this build for you to check out. Otherwise, let me go ahead and get into this build. First, we're gonna go ahead and go over the perks and skills and what I use and why. Then we'll talk about the gear and how to build the gear for extremely cheap and ways to buy a little bit more of an expensive kit if you'd like as well. So to start with, the 2 most important parts of this build are Smite and Divine Protection. Divine Protection, even though it only lasts 4 seconds and only comes back every 40 seconds, is actually extremely powerful, especially considering that most people will not expect somebody in this build right here to have any sort of PDR or defense. So you're going to be extremely tanky despite your PDR only being 16% or like 20% with your heater shield out. So we'll reach about 52% PDR or 60% PDR depending how you build the kit. And that is usually enough, along with our move speed of 306 to engage in and out of the fight, to get the smite kill, and to trade or trade health using Divine Protection. For perks, of course, we need Faithfulness. Faithfulness not only gives you 15% more divine damage for smite, it also reduces the move speed of the enemy by 15% for 1.5 seconds every time you hit them. This is extremely important for smite because our move speed is 306, but with our heater shield and our flange mace out, our move speed becomes extremely slow. Blunt weapon mastery, this is extremely important as well because our physical power bonus is negative. So without blunt weapon mastery, we're not hitting as hard as we need to be. That extra 10% brings us over the negative threshold, which is extremely important. Protection from evil and perseverance, these 2 are really just something I like to rock in case there's any annoying warlocks pushing. Reducing the duration of all harmful effects by 30% is incredible, even for stuff like the Goblin Mage when they hit you. And then Perseverance, same thing. Something like Curse of Pain or any ticking damage is just reduced so heavily, as well as something like a Dagger, a Rogue attack. Since we have Divine Protection and Perseverance, every stab will be taking 2 less damage and 30% less PDR or Armor Pen, so it'll negate their Armor Pen. That allows us to tank rogues in this build, which is extremely fun, and also allows us to take on druids and other classes like that. I'm sure you've seen a similar version of this build with Judgment instead of Divine Protection, but this build and this playstyle specifically is directly based around Divine Protection. So for this build, we're going to give ourselves a budget of around $500. There's a little extra in there just in case we go over, but let me show you guys how we build this kit. For starters, you are going to want a heavy gauntlet. These are nice because they give you dexterity and vigor, and it's only $100 for +2 agility. So we'll go ahead and cop those. Next, let's go ahead and get a flanged mace. Flanged mace is definitely not the best weapon, but they're incredibly cheap. And you're able to get something like either magic power like this here, or a physical damage bonus, max health, physical power. We'll just get one of each here for 53. That makes our smite hit harder. And we're only at 150 so far, 153 spent. Now we're gonna go ahead and head for a blue soleil or sallet. I don't know how to pronounce that. With +2 agility. Look at that. 3 vigor, 2 strength, +2 agility. You barely lose any move speed. It only costs $44. So far, we are dirt cheap, and we're already rocking with some really decent stats. And there's a couple different ways to build this if the Lightfoot start to get expensive. Like, looks like someone's been buying the +2s. But still, 100, not bad, right? +2 agility for 100. So we're still under around 300 right now. And now we just need rings and necklaces. For the necklace, I always like to rock a necklace apiece just to get that health up. And then it just depends what we can afford here. Whether it's extra physical damage reduction, MDR. We want to save money, so I think we'll just go for this one here with magic power, 75. Now, it's up to you how you want to run the rings. You could go for something like Rings of Dex. You could go for additional magic damage on the rings. See, that's only an extra $124 to get 2 of them. Or even more so right here. $145 to get additional magic with 2 rings of quickness. Boom, boom. So that puts our gear score at 122. And let's take a look at our stats and see how we did here. 129, we're much better for the health. 307, even better on the move speed. Let's take a look at the magic damage bonus. Magic power bonus is not that high, and that's where that true magic could have really came in and changed the kit. So instead of additional magic here, you could get true magic on all 3 of these, or get a phoenix choker with like a blue phoenix choker with plus max health or plus max health bonus. Try to get that 129 up. But other than that, we are rocking pretty fine. 16% PDR. Once again, with the shield out, that should go up to around 20 to 22%. So we'll be at 52% PDR when we hit our divine protection. And that basically does it for the build. You can switch out the heavy gauntlets for light gauntlets if you can't afford the +2 agility. You can switch out the soleil for leather caps or other items like that if you're looking for more health and a little cheaper options. 63 for a leather cap. You might even be able to throw in some agility on that. See, +2 agility, 80. Really good deal with magic power. I'm actually just gonna buy that for later. As you can see, our budget's gone, but the kit's here. And yeah, if you needed to lose about 100 or 200 from that, you could change these to light gauntlets. You could change this to a leather cap. You could get rid of a little bit of agility, and that would just push you under the spending threshold. But with that, let's go ahead and look at some PvP, and I'll give some commentary on how you play these fights. This first fight is a fight with a wizard, and I don't normally push casters, especially wizards. I'm much more likely to push a warlock. In this situation, I just wanted to show you the importance of getting in and out with this build and how I was able to reset. So right here, we go in for the Faithfulness Smite, and we just barely miss him. If we would have landed that, it would probably be over. But as you can see, we are able to get out here and start the reset. Every single caster fight, and the reason I don't take them is because they end up being kite and kiter just like this, and it just ends up being so annoying. But after a little bit more kiting, we are able to finally push him and finish off the kill. In this situation, it probably would have been smarter to use a heater shield to block those hits, but we were able to finish him, and he even has a mana sphere. I just want to throw in a quick warlock clip as well. In 124 lobbies, which we'll be playing in, obviously, a lot of warlocks don't have enough move speed, so if you W key them, they'll be forced into melee, and often they haven't built strength, so you can just take the repost and just out melee them with your smite. The next matchup we're going to talk about is shield users of any kind. Just like a melee class or melee fight, you're going to want to W key them, but I just wanted to show off this technique where you pull in from the left or right to try to get around the shield. You can see it in the final blow right there. This technique is very useful for fighting those with shields. One of the funniest matchups is fighting other clerics. It's just adorable fighting judgment clerics. My smite goes, and then as soon as my smite runs off, I'm running off and they're trying to judgment me. Just like that, but they aren't hitting their judgments, and it's just absolutely hilarious. We just end up kiting each other and coming back at it. Right here, he gets the judgment, but I land the headshot with the smite, so I know he's low, so I just end up pushing anyway. Normally, I would disengage here like we always do and try to reset, but instead I just try to go for the finish. The heater shield is so vital, as you can see here, and we're able to, even though I'm absolutely trash at the game, like I said, we're able to finish him off right here. Boom. This last matchup is for ranged fights with anyone like a ranger or a bard or a fighter. Just like a regular melee fight, you're going to want a W key, but you just want to keep in mind when you need to reset. As you see here, as soon as we take more than half our health, or as soon as we are out of smite, we're out of the fight. Out of smite, out of the fight is what I always say. So at this point, it's just kiting and resetting. It's pretty vital to keep full health and a protection pot running with this build if you can, especially when you're fighting someone who's ranged, because you might get hit at any time. But as long as you dodge those hits, like you see there, you should be able to push in and easily secure that final kill. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more dark and darker content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give the video a like or a comment. I hope this made you guys rich.